everybody, welcome back to Design with Nina G. It's been a while. It's been about 10 months since I've uploaded, but I'm back. So I'm going to talk today about some of the ways that I've found you can make money through freelancing or through graphic design in general. And there's so many ways to go about doing this. These are not the only ways to do it, but they're the ways that I've found that work and the avenues that I've explored in my life. So everything I say here is probably from my experience. Take that for what you will. But ultimately, you're going to be finding your own way. But these are just some ideas that maybe might help that process along. If you're really just starting out and haven't had an education on graphic design and don't know the programs yet or anything like that, definitely do a bunch of research. So what I did was I was self-taught for a lot of years, and I learned Photoshop that way. And I mainly did everything in Photoshop until I learned that it's a raster program and not a vector program, and I couldn't make logos that way. So by that time, I ended up going to school. I have an associate's degree in graphic design, so I learned a lot from that. It was only 2 years, but it gave me the skills I needed to learn the programs that I needed. It didn't teach me about business, and it didn't teach me about how to market myself. It didn't teach me about specifically branding. It was more focused towards art and learning the Adobe programs, really, and setting myself up a site and stuff like that. They had a whole class for that. So if school is the route you want to take, go ahead and do it. Anywhere from a 1-year certificate to a master's degree. I think it's worth it to do, especially if you don't have the ambition or motivation to find out what you need to learn on your own. But do you need school? Absolutely not. I am a strong believer that if you put your mind to it, you can learn anything by yourself. You can be self-taught. So if you're motivated enough to find out what you don't know and pursue those things and learn those things, by all means do it. Buy books, look at YouTube videos. There's so much online. So the best ones that I have looked at probably are, off the top of my head, TheFutur. That is probably the most impactful. They'll teach you about business, brand strategy, brand identity, and just being a professional in general. Like that YouTube channel is amazing. So go over there, look at their resources. You will not regret it. Another one, shorter videos, still very impactful. Satori Graphics. I love watching his videos. Tom is very knowledgeable, and I've learned a lot from watching his videos. So those are two off the top of my head. Also, there are a lot of books that I could recommend. I will put the links to those in the description so that you guys can find those and read those. So the first thing that I would suggest is to specialize. Find exactly your niche in the graphic design industry. So mine personally, I love branding. I love to take a company, find their visual identity, and help give a face to the company. So I love to make logos. I love to make brand guides to keep a visual identity consistent and in order. And those are the types of things I like to do. But whether it's creating vector graphics for people, or maybe you can specialize in making people's marketing materials or editing pictures. There's so many things that you can do within graphic design. Find what you do well, find what you enjoy, and make that your specialty. So there's a few reasons why you should do this, and one is because it's going to be really hard for you to market to a bunch of different types of people. So like when I first started out, I started marketing my photography and I started marketing my graphic design at the same time, but I didn't niche down even within the graphic design to branding. So I quickly found out that that's a hard thing to do if you are going to put out an ad, or if you're going to try to market towards a specific group of people. It's going to be a lot easier for you to find customers, and it's going to be more worth putting your money into something that is a smaller range instead of spreading out your marketing budget to a bunch of different things. You get to put it into one thing and make sure that actually works. Another reason that specializing is a good idea is it takes away the jack of all trades but master of none sort of look that you might have. It's good to have a varied skill set, but it's better to have something that you're specifically an expert in, because instead of people looking at you and thinking, oh, they have a lot of skills, they're probably only semi-good at all of them, they'll say, oh, this person knows a lot about what they do. After you've established the things that you want to do specifically, you've specialized, make sure you have the resources that you need to perform all of these things. So as far as freelance graphic designing, some things that you might need, which might take a little bit of a money investment, is a computer. Obviously, you need something to do your work on. So find a computer that is good enough that you can run whatever programs you're going to be using, and probably something to communicate with your clients through. So computer or tablet or whatever, something like that. And then the next thing you're going to need is programs to do these things on. So if you're doing branding like I did, you'll need something that can work in a vector format. So the industry standard for most, I think, graphic design things would be the Adobe suite and the Adobe programs. And that is a subscription-based thing, so you will have to pay monthly or yearly or whatever to keep that up. And if that's not within your price range right now, or if you haven't made enough money to put back into your business to afford something like that, you can look online, and there's a few other programs that you can just buy one time and just have them after that, and you won't have to pay every month for those. A few of those would be Affinity Designer. I've never actually used anything but the Adobe programs, so I can't give a review on these, but Affinity Designer is a program that works with vectors, and it's a one-time purchase. Also, Corel Draw. That one is also a vector program. I might be mistaken, but I think that's more for digital art rather than designing. I don't know exactly what goes into that program, again, because I've never used it, but that's also a one-time purchase. So those three things, I use Adobe Illustrator mostly. I also work with I do things in Photoshop and InDesign as well. And of course, I make my YouTube videos with Premiere. So for me, it's easiest to just have the Adobe Suite, because then I have all the programs I need to make all the things that I need to make. So another thing that you're going to need is your own website, because you need somewhere to direct your clients for more information about you or anything like that. So buying a domain name does cost some money. You can, I think, pay monthly or yearly for that. But it's very, I think, important to have your own space on the internet, somewhere that's yours, and you can make it look how you want. And it's not just a social media site, and it has everything you need there. It'll have either your pricing or your packages or examples of your work. It'll tell who you are and all that, and I think that's really important. Something else that you might want to have is maybe business cards, so that way it's something with your name on it. They can hold on to it so they won't forget your name, and you can just hand them out. And those you can get fairly cheaply. You can get 500 for around $15, I think, on like Vistaprint or something. Sometimes they have deals where you can get it for $10. So it's really, I think, worth it to do that. You can go to local shops, and if they have a bulletin board somewhere, put your business card up on there, and then people can find you that way. I think that's a good way to do it. Something else that's important to have, especially as a freelance graphic designer, is contracts. So this doesn't cost any money to make. Just do some research, find out what you want to be protected against. I'll pull mine up here and give an example of what I have on mine. Okay, so the first thing I have on mine is terminology. And this is just to define that when I say the designer, it refers to me, and the client will refer to, and I have a blank space so I can fill that in for each client that I have. So there's no confusion there. And then I have the project and the designs defined to mean the content that I'm creating for use by this client. And then the next thing I have is time frame, and this is all stuff that I've hopefully gone over with the client already, but I just have it in writing so that if it ends up going beyond it by the client's request, then they can maybe pay a little bit extra for my time. And this section also includes how many rounds of revisions I'm willing to give for each design. and any further revisions beyond that will require extra compensation. The next section I have is deliverables. So everything that we've agreed I'm going to provide to the client for designs. Like if they wanted a logo, it would be a logo. If they wanted a logo and a brand guide, it would be those things. So just a general list of the things that I'm going to be giving to them. And then I go over payment, and I go over the items that I have for the deliverables, what each of those actually costs, and I have that laid out in there so that there's no confusion. I have in here that 50% is due up front, because that will protect you from a lot of things. If somebody has invested some money into a design, then they're less likely to ghost you or not get back to you about things, and they have something invested in there, so they're going to want a return on that. And then I also require the other 50% after we've agreed on the final files and everything's ready to go. I won't actually give them the files until they've given me the money, because too many times before I had a contract, people would take the designs and then not give me the money, and that's not a nice thing to happen. So make sure to protect yourself that way. And then I go over copyright ownership. Usually I will surrender ownership to the owner after this. Some people don't do that. It's my belief personally, and this it's totally just my thing. You can think about it however you want to, but I think that if they're paying for a logo or whatever, the intellectual property should be theirs, and we agreed on a price. So if their company grows because of my logos or anything like that, that's their thing still. They made the money. They decided to invest in me, and it worked out for them. That's fine. Some people might not want to do that. They might want to say, if you make a certain amount of money from these designs per year or whatever, then they're going to have something back from that. And that might be a good thing to do with bigger clients. I've never had super big clients, because so far I've only been marketing to mainly local people. So the businesses haven't been super large yet for me. But I do have in here that I'm allowed to display the work that I've done for them on either my YouTube channel or my site or things like that. So I make sure to keep that right for myself. Another section I have in here talks about how any of the files that I have given to them, so I'll give a lot of drafts usually, so we'll go over a bunch of different designs and they can choose from that, and then we refine it from there. That's my usual process. All of those things they are not allowed to use. The only files they're allowed to use are the ones that I deliver at the end as the final files. So everything in correspondence belongs to me. All the final files belong to them. And then after that, I just have a termination clause that just goes over how either of us can terminate the project at any time, but in the event that they do, they still have to pay me what they agreed to pay me, because that's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my efforts. I've probably already done a bunch of research for them. I've probably done a lot of drafts for them already, and that would just gyp me completely. So that's why I have that in there. And then signature, and then I make sure to keep a copy of that. The next thing that you're going to want that is also free to make is an invoice template. So make sure to keep track of the money you've made, whether it be for tax purposes or anything like that. And just to know exactly what you've made is a good thing. So make sure to number each of those. Your numbering system doesn't matter. You can put a completely arbitrary number, but make sure that it's easy to keep track of for you, and that you just keep everything on file. There are things like QuickBooks that you can use to help you keep track of this type of stuff. I just did all of that stuff by myself. The next thing that you're probably going to want to do is to run a brand strategy session on yourself or on a business that you may be starting for yourself. So if you're looking to work as a freelancer, then really you're becoming a business owner and you're owning your own freelance business. And if you've never heard of brand strategy before, it is, in a nutshell, kind of like a diagnostic tool to find out the inner workings of how your business is going to run. And what it will help you establish is the messaging, the way that you'll talk to your audience. It will target your specific audience so that you're not spreading your efforts too thin over a bunch of different people who probably won't even need your services anyway. It helps you specifically target the people who will give you business. It will help you establish your visual identity, so what your own business is going to look like. And your visual identity should be the most effective it can be to attract the people that you want to be your clients. So it'll help you align those things so that you can do that the right way. And it'll help you with consistency. Every time you touch base with a customer, whether it be them seeing your logo or them hearing something that you've said or seen something that you've written, all of those things should be run through the filter that is your brand strategy. So that way everything will be consistent and aligned within your business. And I may not be explaining that super well, but I have found an awesome brand strategy toolkit online. It's by Column 5 Media. I will put the link in the description so you guys can go to their site, put your email in, they'll send you the toolkit, and then you can work through your business strategy that way. And it's super easy. It's basically a fill in the blank sort of thing, and it is very, very, very effective and helpful. And it's also a good starting point to learn about brand strategy if you're going into branding. It's awesome to do a little bit of brand strategy for your clients as well before you start with the visual identity of things like logos and all that, because then you know that your logo will be effective and not just pretty. So the next thing that you can do as a graphic designer to make money is go on to sites like Upwork and Fiverr. I really hate to say that, but because honestly they cheapen the industry. People go on there looking to get something good for pennies, and I really can't condone that. But if you're looking to make a quick buck, it is an easy way to do that. You don't need any you still need a computer and program to make the things that you're going to give to your clients, but it doesn't require your own contracts. It doesn't require invoices. It doesn't require marketing yourself door to door. So that's a lot easier sometimes, but it is competitive. So it's really hard, I think, to find clients on there, but you're not going to get paid what you want to get paid or what you're worth, most likely. And like I said, it does cheapen the entire industry to do stuff like that. So do it if you want to do it. Know that you're probably going to put in more work than the money that you're going to get back. So the next thing you can do, if your area like mine wasn't optimal for marketing locally, is also make a name for yourself online, which is something that I was doing simultaneously. I was trying to do the small business side of things and do an online. I say was because I've since moved on to a different business venture, but yeah, so I started my YouTube channel, which since I moved almost a year ago, I haven't made any videos, but just find any free social media and do content marketing through that. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of those things you can use to get your work out there, to get your name out there, and to position yourself as an expert in your field. And all of those things are free. The downside to this is that it does take time to build up a following. It takes time to get yourself out there. And if you're looking to make money now, then actually going and talking to people might be the faster way to do it. But this is definitely a good way to do it. And once you make a name for yourself and let people know what you do and put yourself out there, then you can get the bigger clients that you may be wanting to market towards. So making a name for yourself as an expert in your field, it will definitely take time and research, and it can be hard to get known, but once you actually have the expertise, you're educated, and you have the skill set you need, you will start finding clients who will pay you what you're worth and people who value the work that you're doing. So another way that you can make money through graphic design is through stock vectors or stock illustrations or stock photography, and all of these are more of a passive income. So you can make something one time, put it out there for people to buy, and then you can keep having a return on that. So that's an awesome way to do it. A great video for this is by Yes, I'm a Designer, and it's called Making Money Online from Selling Stock Illustrations. And he goes over it better than I can probably, especially within the time that I have to make this video. But selling stock illustrations and stock icons and things like that are a great way to make money because there's a list of stock sites you can go on to, create an account, and upload the same work to a bunch of them, because there are some that are exclusive and they say that you can only put your art on their site, but there are some that are not exclusive, and if you have 6 to 10 sites like that, they can all be making money at the same time with one of your artworks. So some of them do require a minimum of, I don't know, 15 to 20 artworks that you put on to start, and then from there you can do it one at a time. So just start making stuff and putting it on there. I have some stuff on Adobe stock. I haven't made enough to put on other sites yet, but I have seen those work pretty well for me so far. And like one of them has made probably 90% of the money that I've made from it, while the others are just kind of sitting there. But that way, I mean, you can put stuff on there, see what works. If it works, you make more of those and then you make more money. It does take a little bit of a time investment because you do have to make the artwork, and when you upload it, you have to do a bunch of like keyword tags for each one, a description for each one, a name for each one, and just make sure to list it correctly and effectively so that you can be found, or so that your pieces can be found and make you money. But once you do that once, it's on there, and then you can just keep making money from it. So yeah, those are the ways that I've found you can start out as a graphic designer and make some money. And I hope that really helps you guys. I hope that you guys have success in what you're trying to do. Just good luck. Because it can be hard starting out. It can be hard being a freelancer and working for yourself. Sometimes it may even be easier to just apply to a company and work for a company. That way you don't have to worry about all of the things. But if you have the ambition, you have the time, you have all the things that it takes to be your own boss and to make this happen, do it, because consistency is key. Keep working at it, keep creating, keep getting yourself out there, getting your name out there, and it will pay off. But I'm not going to lie to you, it is work. It is hard. You're going to probably want to quit at some point, but if you keep on doing it, you're going to get there, and you'll hopefully make a name and a living for yourself. So good luck with that. Thank you guys for all of the feedback that you've given me on my videos that I almost stopped making. I'm going to have some more coming out. In fact, I'll probably film another one right now. But yeah, give me suggestions on things you want to hear or things you want to learn. If I know the answer to it, I will definitely make a video about it. Like, do you want to know more about logo design or designing in general? Or do you want to know more about how to work the programs or best practices for graphic design? I don't know, anything like that. Give me ideas. Tell me what you want to see and I'll try to put it out there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.